Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the source material behind the deep mysteries, the wildest internet theories, and the absolutely astonishing scientific realities of Earth's most isolated continent. It's a place that has captured human imagination for centuries, and today, we're going to look at exactly why. Let's dive right in with a question that literally sparks endless fascination. What is really hiding beneath 3 miles of Antarctic ice? I mean, is it just endless rock and frozen wasteland? Or could there be something buried down there that would fundamentally rewrite human history? Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to journey through the mysteries under the ice, looking into a supposed lost ancient civilization, the hollow Earth theory, and secret bases with alien lore. Then, we'll pivot to the real Operation High Jump and finally uncover Antarctica's ancient green past. Section 1. A lost ancient civilization. Let's kick things off with the captivating theories of Graham Hancock. He suggests that a highly advanced society might have actually thrived right where the ice now sits, way before the Sumerians or Egyptians. He relies on this fringe concept called Earth crust displacement. Basically, the idea is that the Earth's entire outer crust can shift rapidly, kind of like the loose skin of an orange sliding over the fruit inside. If that's true, it means Antarctica could have been sitting in a warm, temperate zone before literally sliding down to the South Pole. And this divide in thinking is brilliantly illustrated by the 1513 Piri Reis map. Mainstream historians look at it and see a compilation of Columbus's charts, with some inaccurate, imaginative guesses for the coastlines. But Hancock's view is totally different. He argues it depicts an ice-free Antarctica with incredibly accurate longitudes. And here's the kicker. That kind of measurement was supposedly impossible without a marine chronometer, a tool that wasn't even invented until the 18th century. So, theorists see this as impossible accuracy, pointing to lost ancient seafarers. So, if this amazing civilization existed, where did they go? Well, Hancock connects this lore to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. This is the theory that a massive comet struck Earth roughly 12,900 years ago, causing rapid climate change and wiping out advanced prehistoric societies. According to the theory, this sudden global freeze, rising sea levels, and massive upheaval left only scattered survivors. And these survivors allegedly went on to spread their architectural and astronomical knowledge to places like ancient Egypt. Section 2. The Hollow Earth Theory. Let's move even deeper into the rabbit hole and explore a concept that takes these mysteries entirely underground, the hollow Earth. Now, you might think this is just some wild new internet invention, but it's not. It actually evolved from 17th century science. Back in 1692, Edmund Halley, the Halley's Comet guy, proposed the Earth had concentric hollow shells to explain magnetic anomalies. Fast forward to the 19th century, and John Cleves Symmes Jr. was passionately advocating for expeditions to find massive, navigable holes at the poles, which sets the stage perfectly for the most famous piece of modern lore in 1947. This lore surrounds the disputed 1947 diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. The story goes that he flew into a lush polar opening and actually met a technologically superior, peaceful inner Earth society. According to the diary, instead of a frozen wasteland, he saw green forests, woolly mammoths, and flying machines that made absolutely no sound. And this society was supposedly terrified of humanity's brand new atomic weapons. They delivered a dire warning to the surface world, urging for peace and mutual respect among nations, and advocating for a shift away from the brinkmanship of nuclear annihilation. Now, these theories actually split on what exactly is down there. You have Agartha on one hand, which is often envisioned as this singular, spiritually enlightened utopian civilization running on clean energy. But then you have the broader hollow Earth concept. That leaves room for a much wilder, untamed subterranean frontier filled with various underground realms that range from wondrous to downright perilous. Section 3. Secret bases and alien lore. Fast forwarding to modern internet lore, the continent is now viewed as the ultimate hiding spot for both the elite and the extraterrestrial. Conspiracy theorists point to satellite anomalies and historical expeditions to suggest some truly wild speculations. We're talking secret billionaire meetings, the recovery of extraterrestrial technology, and massive underground luxury survival bunkers. And of course, there is the enduring legend of New Schwabenland, which claims a 1930s German expedition built permanent bases under the ice, not to mention rumors of hidden pyramid structures. The real appeal of all this lore is solidly grounded in Antarctica's isolation. It's the perfect blank canvas for secrecy, far away from public oversight. Plus, there are the perceived legal loopholes in the Antarctic treaty system. Because the treaty restricts military activity and largely designates the continent for science, theorists see it as the ultimate blind spot. Think about it. If you had endless resources and needed to hide something huge, this frozen, harsh desert seems like the only place left on Earth to pull it off.
Section 4. The real Operation High Jump.
But here is our record scratch moment. Pulling back the curtain on the lore reveals a historical reality that is just as monumental, rooted purely in military strategy and science. 4,700. That is the massive number of military personnel deployed by the U.S. Navy in 1946 for the very real Project High Jump, led by the actual Admiral Byrd. This was no quiet, secret mission. It was a massive, overt display of naval power at the absolute bottom of the world.
Rather than hunting aliens or lost civilizations, the sources show this heavily armed fleet was testing cold weather gear and asserting geopolitical dominance during the dawn of the Cold War. Just look at the logistics. They brought 13 ships, including a whole aircraft carrier. They extensively mapped a staggering 1.5 million square kilometers from the air, and they established the fully functional Little America 4 base. It was a pioneering scientific and logistical triumph.
Section 5. Antarctica's Ancient Green Past.
And while we probably aren't going to find human lost cities under the ice, geology confirms that Antarctica possesses an astonishing, genuinely green ancient past. This brings us to the Eocene epoch, a period 56 to 34 million years ago. Back then, Antarctica sat at the South Pole just like it does today, but it existed as a lush, thriving ecosystem without any massive ice sheets. The planet was in a greenhouse climate with high sea levels, and mammals were rapidly diversifying.
During this time, the Earth experienced a dramatic global temperature spike of +5 to 8 degrees Celsius during what's known as the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. This intense heating was largely driven by massive ocean methane releases. Because there was no giant reflective ice sheet on Antarctica to bounce the sun's radiation back into space, the entire planet absorbed more heat, which just compounded the warming effect even further. To really put that warmth into perspective, atmospheric CO2 was sitting between 1,000 and 2,000 parts per million. That is vastly higher than our pre-industrial levels, and it was more than enough to completely melt the polar ice caps. This extreme greenhouse effect meant that the temperature difference between the equator and the poles was nowhere near as extreme as it is today.
And we know this for an absolute fact, because the fossil record reveals a dramatically different Antarctica. Drill beneath the miles of ice today, and you don't find ancient human megaliths. You find pollen, plant fossils, and evidence that it was teeming with temperate to subtropical forests, beaches, conifers, and ferns. It was literally a humid, vibrant paradise. So how did it go from a green paradise to a frozen desert? It's like a giant puzzle. First, the supercontinent Gondwana broke apart. Then, South America and Australia drifted away. This created a massive opening called the Drake Passage. Once that water opened up, the massive Antarctic circumpolar current began to flow, essentially trapping Antarctica in a bubble of freezing water and locking the continent into a permanent climatic deep freeze.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question. Even without lost cities or secret alien bases, isn't Antarctica's ancient green reality extraordinary enough? The true geological history of our planet is often just as thrilling as the wildest myths we can invent. Thanks for exploring the source material with us today, and keep questioning what really lies beneath the surface.